Jai Hind, dear student of class 12th. I welcome you again in geography class. And as for priority, earlier as I have given you that we will continue practical works also with theory, but now I have decided to first complete the theory portion of geography. We are having vast syllabus, even after some deduction is there through the board, but we are having many chapters to go through. So later, after completion of theory, I hope that school will reopen soon. Then we will do the practical activities, practical work in geography. Today I am going to introduce chapter 5 of book 1, primary activities. Now you can see the lesson I am introducing today is the primary activity. Here you can see. In this lesson we will discuss about different primary activities. You all know that economic activities which human do to generate something for income or survival basically classified as primary activities, secondary activities, tertiary activities. Simple concept is that exploitation of nature, it means collecting things from nature through various activities, all come under primary section, primary activities. And processing of all these materials obtained from nature through manufacturing as well as the construction comes under secondary activities. And all type of services as tertiary activities. Now, quaternary activities and quinary activities are also developed over there. In class 12, we have to discuss all about. So, I am going to start the lesson primary activity today. As you can see the figure, it's given a rearing, a shepherd is here with seeds. So, indicated that we are going to discuss about those activities in which we are exploiting the nature to obtain many things. Very first line is so important for you. You can see that. Human activities which generate income are known as economic activities. We do a number of activities as human beings, but all such activities are not related with income. Many activities you are performing for our pleasure, for betterment of society, but those activities through which we generate some income are known as economic activities. Economic activities are broadly grouped into, as I have told you, you have concept that primary, secondary and tertiary. But now in class 12, we will discuss also about quaternary activities as well as quinary activity as a part of quaternary activities. Primary activities are directly dependent on environment. As in beginning, I explained that in primary activities, we exploit nature. We obtain things from nature through various activities. So, these refer to utilization of earth resources such as land. On land, we are tilling the land for growing crops, that is called agriculture. Water bodies are there, we are catching fishes from there. Fishery is an activity, comes under this category. There are natural vegetation, we are cutting them, we are using them as timber for making varieties of things, building materials, as well as we are mining minerals from the earth crust. In all these activities, you can see that there is exploitation of nature. Thus, it includes hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering means शिकार और संग्रहण. शिकार करके जानवरों को मारना, उनका इस्तेमाल करना, जीवन को सस्टेन रखने के लिए, सर्वाइव कराने के लिए, और गैदरिंग बहुत सारी चीजों को जो प्राकृतिक रूप से उपलब्ध है उसको इकट्ठा करना, संग्रहण. पेस्टोरल एक्टिविटीज, चरवाही. फिशिंग, मछली पकड़ना. फॉरेस्ट्री, जंगलों की कटाई. एग्रीकल्चर, द मोस्ट कॉमन फॉर इंडिया. एंड माइनिंग एंड क्वेरिंग. Mining and quarrying both are same type of activity. In mining, what we do, we have to dig some surface of the earth and then we can reach to the minerals to find out. then we are extracting it. But in quarrying, what happens? Minerals generally are available very close to the earth surface. So only after clearing a little layer of earth surface, we are getting it. Quarrying, one good example you can take mining sand. It is called quarrying. But coal we are extracting from deep inside the earth crust, known as mining. So here given one question: why are the inhabitants of coastal and plain regions engaged in fishing and agriculture respectively? Here the question is put to find out your intelligence. Why are inhabitants of coastal and plain region, जो लोग कोस्टल यानी समुद्री सीमा रेखा के पास रहते हैं और प्लेन एरिया जैसे कि नॉर्दर्न प्लेन में रहते हैं, why they are engaged in fishing? It is for coastal people, and plain region why agriculture is common. It is asked here. What are the physical and social factors which affect the type of primary activities in different regions? Now listen, in tropical dense forests, in equatorial forests, where variety of trees are available in few distance, where the forest is so dense, number of things can be gathered from there. From those regions, the physical factor is there that forest is available over a large area. And social factor is that the societies which are inhabiting inside the forest areas, their technological development is in primitive stage, not so advanced. So because of that, they are doing such primary activities in different regions of the world. But here question: why are inhabitants of coastal region are engaged in fishing from ancient time, as they got it easier that to catch fishes from oceanic area and can utilize for marketing purpose, for consumption, etc. And in plain areas, due to the availability of fertile soil, fresh water availability, and suitable climatic condition. Very first, sedentary agriculture has developed. The agriculture has developed on permanent basis. Still this time in forest areas, some primitive societies are doing shifting agriculture. They are clearing the patch of forest upland, and after clearing the patch in forest, they are doing agriculture for 2 or 3 years. When they see the soil is losing its fertility, they again leave the place and do the same activity in some other parts of the forest. That is ecologically not good. Now it is almost banned in our country, but still some communities in Meghalaya, Nagaland, they are engaged in this. So people who are engaged in primary activities, here one do you know is given, you can see. People who are engaged in primary activities are called red collar workers. Why they are called red collar workers? Due to the outdoor nature of their work. Due to the outdoor nature of their work, the people engaged in primary activities are called red collar workers. The first primary activity we are going to discuss is the hunting and gathering. Shikar, another word is akhet, and gathering means sangrahan. Now see this one, what the content is given to your book. Now see, the earliest human beings depended on their immediate environment for their sustenance. The early human who was afraid of nature, who worshipped nature, he was totally dependent on his surrounding for gathering some edible plants, and if possible they could have hunt some of the animals for their food. So given they subsisted on animals which they hunted, जिन जानवरों का शिकार करते थे उस पे, एंड एडिबल प्लांट्स जो कि प्लांट खाने पीने में इस्तेमाल हो सकता था. On these two things their life were going on, but the society was primitive, technological development was very low, you can say nil. They have utilized some of the operators made up of stone and later of wood. Then they have invented slowly, slowly with the technological advancement, the human society become advanced. So still today there are many people living in the world in groups, in community. They are called primitive community, like pygmy of Congo basins. Have you heard the name of pygmies? Some of the community in Nagaland in India, like Angami Naga, they still live there inside the forest. They don't come for any conversation with the people living outside the forest. Pygmies are especially very important example in this society regarding this society called primitive society, because pygmies nowadays are decreasing in their number, as with lot of effort by the countries of the region where the Congo basin is located. Pygmies are not ready to take the modern education. They are not ready to take or share anything with the modern society. Still, their lifestyle is complete primitive, and believe that slowly, slowly their number is decreasing, and these are called endangered human nowadays. Their population is decreasing. It is not good sign. It is one of the community living inside the forest having a rich cultural heritage too. So governments are trying to protect them as well as to take them in modern style of life, but still they are not advanced. The people in coastal areas, the people in coastal areas still catch fish. Now fishing has experienced modernization due to technological progress. Do you know? Now we are having mechanized boats, advanced quality of nets, all the other machinery. Within few hours we can catch lots of fish. On the other hand, some people they are practicing this activity with their traditional way. Many species now have become extinct or endangered due to illegal hunting. Illegal hunting means poaching. Earlier, hunting was allowed in past, but after banning hunting, still this time some people are engaged in doing this activity illegally. So this illegal hunting is known as poaching. Because of this, many extinct have extinct or at the verge of extinction called endangered species. The early hunters used primitive tools made up of stones, twigs made up of wood, arrows, so the number of animals killed was limited. But after using gun for this purpose, what happens? Yes, lot of animals are killed at a time. Here question is asked, why has hunting been banned in India? Simply to safeguard the wild animals. Earlier hunting was allowed in India, but only in 1972, after implementation of Wildlife Protection Act, hunting was banned. Still this time some people are doing known as poachers, and this illegal hunting is known as poaching. Gathering and hunting are the oldest economic activity known. Agriculture developed later. The early societies, the primitive societies, they have started to gather things to sustain their life. After invention of some weapons, you can say made up of stones, they have learned to kill animals. Then hunting was started. So believed to be that gathering and hunting are the oldest economic activity. These are carried out at different levels with different orientation. Gathering is practiced in regions with harsh climatic condition. Where climatic condition is so harsh, there people are engaged themselves, especially the primary societies, they are engaged in gathering. It often involves primitive societies who extract both plants and animals to satisfy. You can see here. You can see animals to satisfy their needs for food, shelter, and clothing. This type of activity requires a very simple amount of capital investment. They are really belonging to that community where economic development is very little and technological advancement is also primitive. So the yield per person is very low. To gathering, the yield, prapti, per person is low and little or no surplus is produced. What the things they are collecting? They are consuming themselves. If there any surplus is there, sometimes these tribal community people are coming outside and they sell their product in the market. They come in contact to modern world only to sell some of the surplus product. Otherwise, they are gathering basically to satisfy their own needs first. Now you can see women, here it is given women gathering oranges in Mizoram. Here in Mizoram, Meghalaya, where dense forests are very common, in Arunachal Pradesh, oranges are found in forests, mangoes are there, jackfruits, katal, pears, naspati, many fruits are found naturally over there in these forests. So women are gathering it, they are consuming it for their family as well as the surplus nowadays they are selling in the market. Now see this map. This map is quite important. In this map, it is given areas of subsistence gathering. Here you can see this area, southern part of North America, Alaska region, this Siberian region, here the tropical Africa, and here the Amazon basin. We'll discuss later, but I'm going to discuss about this gathering that gathering is practiced. Gathering is practiced basically in these three regions. Number one, the high latitude zones which include northern Canada, North American part, northern Eurasia, and southern Chile. Second, low latitude zones such as Amazon basin, tropical Africa, and the northern fringe of Australia and the interior part of Southeast Asia. So the parts you can see now in this map, this is the part northern Canada, Eurasia, tropical Africa, and here it is Amazon basin, interior part of Asia. You can see this region, and at the fringe of Australia. Fringe means just after the particular location, the area is starting, and then after any other area is starting. So the area in between that known as fringe areas for one. Fringe area, surrounding areas. So especially in north, which practiced. So you have seen that there are three main regions where this gathering are practiced. First, high latitude zone, which include northern Canada, northern Eurasia, and southern Chile. Low latitude zones such as Amazon basin, tropical Africa, areas of dense forest, northern fringe of Australia, and interior part of Southeast Asia. In modern times, some gathering is market oriented, as in case of Northeast India, I have said you. In the forests of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, many fruits are found. So as the people are collecting these fruits, nowadays they are consuming and the surplus they are selling in the market. So in modern times, some gathering is market oriented and side by side many medicinal plants. Now there is huge of these medicinal plants in making Ayurvedic medicines, and the trust regarding Ayurvedic medicine of people in the world is growing up day by day because there is no chance for side effect of these Ayurvedic medicine over our health, as well as it helps us to cure many diseases. So these tribal communities are not gathering only fruits but medicinal plants, different types of roots, bark of different trees. For example, cinchona tree is found in rainforest, and the people are collecting bark of cinchona tree, which is utilized to extract quinine, and quinine is the medicine for malaria. We all know that in rainforest, malaria is a common disease, and God has gifted their cinchona tree, and through this tree, we are extracting chemical compound known as quinine utilized to cure malaria. So many medicinal plants, fruits, leaves, barks are extracted from these forest areas by this tribal community, not to consume entirely but to sell in market too. So given here, you can see gatherers collect valuable plants such as leaves, barks of trees, medicinal plants after simple processing sale and products in the market. Further given, they use various parts of plants. For example, the bark is used for quinine, where we are collecting bark of cinchona tree in tropical evergreen or rainforest. Tannin extract, the type of chemical compound, and cork. It is obtained there in taiga region, below the tundra region, in Alaska region, parts of Siberia. There, soft trees are found having soft wood. Cork is made by this. Leaves supply material for beverages. Here, the word beverages you can see. Not only for making medicines, many leaves are there. They are utilized by the local community in advanced societies even for making beverages. Beverages means peya padarth like tea, coffee, drugs, cosmetics. Many herbal products are there in the market nowadays. You can see these are made not only growing them in agricultural fields. Many of these are the product of the things collected from the forest areas. They collect fibers, thatch. The new word is here. You can see thatch. They are using this thatch to make their huts. They are making fabrics. They have collected a number of nuts for food and oil and tree trunk yield. Tree trunk means पेड़ का तना. उससे क्या yield करते हैं? Like rubber. Rubber, what is this? It is latex, a fluid. After removing the bark of rubber tree, the latex is found and that latex is processed to make natural rubber. Batata, applies for making gums and resins. Many type of resins are also found in forest areas. We are utilizing. Now here, do you know is given? It is very important a GK for you. As one, do you know we have discussed the red collar workers means the people engaged in primary activity. Here you can see the name of the part of chewing gum after the flavor is gone. More or less all of us have utilized in our life. Chewing gum. After few time as we are chewing it, flavor is gone. It is called chicle. It is made from a milky juice of jopata tree. Which tree? Jopata tree. And this milky juice of jopata tree is utilized for making chickles. And chickles with flavor we are using as chewing gum. So it is also a product of gathering. Now see further, gathering has little chance to become gathering has little chance of becoming important at global level. Why? Because now products of such an activity, you can see here, product of such an activity cannot be compete in the world market. Suppose the oranges, the tribal community or ethnic group of Mizoram, Meghalaya or Tripura, they are collecting. The type of oranges is not, they are natural, no doubt they are having a lot of vitamins and other nutrients. That is good, eco-friendly produced, so they are good for our health also. But people love to use the big oranges available in the market, produced by the farmers, better means of irrigation and modern technology, hybrid seeds. So comparatively, the natural product, the modern genetic engineering which has give a better seed for production of better crop. So these products are not competing with the products of world market. Moreover, synthetic products often of better quality. Like if you are collecting natural rubber, now synthetic rubber is utilized too much. That is more durable, cheaper in comparison to the natural rubber also. So given here, synthetic products often of better quality at lower price have replaced many items supplied by the gatherers in tropical forest especially. So day by day, gathering is losing its economic importance. Next topic we have to discuss is the pastoralism. Gumantu Charvahi at some of the stage in history with the realization that hunting is an unsustainable activity. Sometimes people have thought might be that if you are hunting and our life is dependent on hunting only, sometime animal may extinct and then how we can survive. So at some stage in history, with realization that hunting is an unsustainable activity, what the economic activity we are doing must be sustainable, should satisfy the needs of present as well as there should no any compromise with the needs of future generation. You know about the concept of sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Yes, sustainable economic development means the development which look up to the need of present generation as well as to think about our future generation, and this development takes place without harming the environment. So human beings might have thought of domestication of animals as sometimes people in past in history have realized that the animals will extinct due to excess killing, so they have thought for domestication of these animals. Some of the animals they have made domesticated. People living in different climatic conditions selected and domesticated animals found in those regions. According to the climatic condition of that area, they have selected the animals to domesticate. For example, in dry areas, they have starting rearing of sheep, goats. In the regions where grasses are available, cows, and water is available in bulk, buffaloes. In this way, people have selected some of the animals according to their climatic condition of that particular area to domesticate, depending on geographical factors. Suppose if it is a mountainous region, it is very difficult to rear cows and buffaloes over there. Sheep and goats can be reared easily. With technological development, nowadays we see that technological development in hybridization is now too advanced. In the northern plain, you can take one example. From many times we are rearing the cows and buffaloes. Now the hybrid cows and buffaloes are available. We are rearing them for more and more production of milk. Animal rearing today is practiced either at subsistence, animal rearing, जानवरों की चरवाही is practiced either at subsistence or at commercial level. So no more that it is a matter of subsistence. केवल जिंदगी निर्वाह करने के लिए, जीने के लिए animal rearing नहीं है. Now animal rearing is becoming commercialized. It is commercialized and commercial animal rearing at the large scale has developed in the world. So in pastoralism, first we are going to discuss about the nomadic herding, Ghumantu Pasucharan. Nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism is a primitive subsistence activity in which herders rely on animals for food, clothing and shelter. Like Bedouins and Tuaregs of Sahara, they rely on camels. They move from one place to another along with their livestock. Livestock means these animals, depending on the amount and quality of pastures. Because after grazing, if the grasses are finished, they are again searching a new pasture land, again searching new water resources for their cattle as well as for themselves. Each nomadic community occupies a well-defined territory as a matter of tradition. Traditionally, Bedouins have one area occupied in that desert area, Tuaregs have a different area, but today we know that in modernized world political boundaries are common. So slowly, this practice of nomadic herding is declining. We'll discuss. A wide variety of animals is kept in different regions. For example, in tropical Africa, cattle are the most important livestock in tropical Africa, cattle. While in Sahara and Asiatic desert, sheep, goats, and camel are reared. In mountainous areas of Tibet and Andes, in Tibet, they rear yak, and in Andes, the longest mountain range of the world, Andes, they are rearing llamas. Llamas resembling like the deer as well as some mixture of giraffe. You can see llamas. In Arctic and subarctic areas, there people rear reindeer are the most important. Reindeer. You have seen, might have in many pictures, that sledges are there, dogs are carrying these sledges, and reindeers are herded by these people living there inside this cold area, and they are surviving in the condition. Further given, pastoral nomadism. Now see, pastoral nomadism is associated with three important regions. First is the core region extends from Atlantic shore of North Africa eastwards across the Arabian Peninsula into Mongolia and central China. Second region over the tundra region in Eurasia and southern hemisphere there are small areas in southwest Africa on the islands of Madagascar. Now see the map. Areas of nomadic herding. You can see. This is the map showing areas of nomadic herding. You can see this part. This is the tundra region. Reindeers are reared here. This is the Africa, Arabian Peninsula and interior Asia up to Mongolia. This is the region you can see. In South Tropical Africa, after that you can see this region is here. So these are the three main regions where pastoral nomadism is carried. So these are the three regions. Now see, movement in search of pasture is undertaken either over vast horizontal distances or vertically from one elevation to another in mountainous region. They're in plain areas, they are moving away from that particular place where they have found first the water resources and grasses. Then after they are living for a new area long away from that region. But in mountains, generally these herders engaged in pastoralism, nomadism, Humantu Charvahi, they are moving uphill and again coming back downhill. Now see the process of migration from plain areas. Here, now here you can see the process of migration from plain areas to pasture or mountains during summers, because in summers in valleys when grasses are finished, grasses are not more available for the cattle, and again from mountains pasture to plain areas during winter when there is high cold, very severe cold over the high mountainous region. So this is seasonal migration known as transhumance. Transhumance is the seasonal migration of herders from downhill to uphill during the summers and towards valleys again during the winters. In India, Gujars, Bakarwals, Gaddis, Bhotias migrate from plain to mountainous in summer and to plains from high altitude pastures in winters. Bakarwals, they are in there in Kashmir, Himachal. Gujars are also found over there. Gaddi is a tribe of Himachal Pradesh, and Bhotias, not Bhutia. Bhutia means the people of Bhutan, but here word is Bhotia. Bhotias are inhabited tribal ethnic community of Uttarakhand. Migrate from plains to mountains in summer. Similarly, in tundra region, the nomadic herders move from south to north in summers. But as during winters, in north there is severe cold, they come towards south for a mild climatic condition. The number of pastoral nomads has been decreasing and areas operated by them shrinking. As I have told you, because of modernization of the world, division of countries. So here given why the pastoral nomadism has been on declining trend. Two reasons are here mentioned. You can see This is due to first imposition of political boundaries. Now, other countries are not allowing the nomadic or ethnic community of any other country to move inside their own territory. And second, new settlement plans by different countries, like in Egypt, where Bedouins and Tuaregs in past were riding camels. Today, after the exploration of oil in this area, they have lot of petrodollars. They have a modern life. They are moving in air-conditioned car, jeep. Instead of using sword, they are using guns, as well as the new settlement plan of the government related to this part particularly. They have got a permanent place to reside, and now they are moving towards modern world, and more or less they are the part. So it's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Further contents will be carried in next class. Thank you. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.